Follow yourself. Now there is one beautiful aspect of the spiritual path, which I am going to reveal to you now. And that is the self, the true self, the true totality of consciousness has a power that resonates, a power that's creative. It's not merely a consciousness that becomes conscious, it's a consciousness that creates something to be conscious of. That creative power itself resonates, and a little second of resonance creates millions and billions of years of existence at different levels. So that power, creative power, which resonates, creates all the experiences that are happening, leading to the experience of time and space through mind, leading to the experience of sensory perception, leading through our experience right here. There is one beautiful aspect of that power. As that power descends from immense power, even power is not the right word, because creativity is more than power. That creativity assumes the shape of resonance. From resonance, it becomes like a music. From music, it becomes a sound, and it can be heard at all times, right from the top till now. That means we have inside us not only the ability to become unaware of one form and find another, we have the ability to catch something which is continuously connected with our true home, continuously connected without a break. And it can be recognized while we are here. It can be recognized because right now the self inside us, the soul inside, resonates, which looks like music, like a sound which can be heard by us, which we can hear as human beings. It's not a sound, it's a creative power, but it emanates from the self like it can be heard. So therefore, to make a shortcut of the spiritual path, these perfect living masters have advised you can go long routes with the mental games, or you can catch on the eminence, the thing that is coming directly from the soul, directly from the totality of consciousness. And that can be heard while we are here, even in the physical body. That sound, that something audible, has been described by all perfect living masters in different forms. It's been called the ultimate sound, the Shabd that creates the world. If you see the scriptures of different religions, you will find in Sri Guru Granth Sahib, the sixth scripture, it says clearly, Shabde Dharti, Shabde Kash, Shabde Shabad Bhaya Prakash. That Shabad was the creator of the sky and the earth, and Shabad was the creator of Shabad itself. And keeps on describing in long verses how that power has created everything. In the Bible, in John's Gospel, opening verses say, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All things were made by Him, and nothing was made that was not made by Him. They're talking of the Word. Why Word? Why not say power? Why equate a word with God? Because the Word created the concept of God also, which we worship. It was prior to God. That Shabd, that word, the Rig Veda in the Hindus says, in the beginning was the Nad, the sound. All things were created by Him, and that was the Creator. It's almost a translation of John's Gospel's first verses. How come? They're all using something, some language, some... Why word? Why not some other word? Because a word can be heard. Because the Shabd can be heard. Sound can be heard. Audible things are which can be heard. That is why some have called it the audible life stream. Therefore, here's a shortcut. A route that you can, it's like a rope coming right from there, we can catch onto it and hold on and go all the way up. If you catch the sound of your own self, and where do you find it? You find it in the self. Where is the self? Where you feel it is. When you are awake, sitting like this, where do you feel is the self? We did exercises just to say where it is. Behind the eyes, at the third eye center. Why do we call it third eye center? Because when we look with these two eyes at anything, these two eyes create two images and they merge. They're creating the sense of depth. Where do they merge? When we are looking at something with physical eyes, where are we looking from? If we were looking from the eyes, we would be seeing two images with two eyes. Why do we see one? Because the two images are different with the two eyes and they merge. Where do they merge? They merge inside, in the middle of the head, between the ears at the third eye center. This is a physical phenomena. It's an anatomy. How the body works. That's the exact point. Where do you feel you are? If you are not a body, but you feel you are a thinking person, where do you think from? Third eye center. Where do you want to put your attention? Somebody is calling you, you turn around, where do you look from? Third eye center. Therefore, in the wakeful state, we know where we are. If we are not matter, but spirit, we know where the spirit is. It's behind the eyes, at the third eye center, between the ears, and where these two eyes, their light meets. And can we stay there long enough to see what's going on? Sure, that is meditation. True meditation is the ability to stay with your attention at the third eye center, not waver. There's something that makes us waver a lot. And what is that? The mind and its attachments. What do we try to sit behind the eyes? What happens? We start thinking of all the things outside. Sometimes people say, I've lost my keys. I said, try to do meditation. The keys will come, but not sitting there. The mind will play games because it's attracted outside, it's attached to outside. So we are playing games with an agency, a computer of ours, and therefore the computer wins. Let us win by not listening to any thought, just concentrating our thought on what's going on here. If you do that, I can guarantee you'll hear the sound of your own self. The sound that comes from the soul. The sound that comes from consciousness and not from any of its covers. If you can listen to that sound, listen attentively. Like I was telling you, listen attentively to the words of mantra that you repeat. I was emphasizing attentive listening. Because listening is a capacity of the soul. Speaking or thinking is capacity of the mind. We have divided the functions. Functions of mind and soul are very distinct. And I want to point this out because when I came first time to this country, I went to study at Harvard University, and people talk to me about spirituality. You know, they would say, this mind, soul, whatever you call it, as if it's the same thing. You call it mind or you call it soul, same thing. There is no distinction that the functions of the mind and the soul operating in a human body are so different. The mind operates only in time and space. It thinks, rationalizes, comes to conclusions, employs logic, picks up sensory perceptions. All this function takes place in time and space. The soul gets intuitive knowledge, no space and time. Have the function of love, no space and time. Feel love for somebody instantly, with no space and time, no cause and effect. Has appreciation of beauty, no time and space. There are two functions going on in consciousness, in a human being. We employ the soul to have a feeling of love. We employ the soul to have the intuitive knowledge. We employ the soul to appreciate beauty. In fact, when we have one of these experiences of love or beauty or intuition, the mind comes into the way to create a doubt upon that experience. You suddenly feel love for somebody, what does the mind do? How can you be sure? It just puts a doubt. The mind comes in the way of these experiences which are spiritual. These are spiritual experiences. So that's why when you are able to become the listener, Whether you are listening to the repetition of the words by your own mind or listening to the sound of your own emanation from the self, you are reaching closer and closer to the self. If you can listen intently to the sound of the self coming within ourselves, it will pull you. And it will pull you. The longer you can stay with it, the stronger you can hold it, the further you will go. It will take you right up to your true home, totality of consciousness. It's an unbroken link. All other levels of consciousness are broken. You go to sleep, you have a dream, you are cut off from the wakeful state. It is separate. You wake up, you withdraw from your body, go out of body into another experience, you are cut off from the physical experience. All other levels of consciousness are all separate, cut off. Sound is never cut off. The creative power of the self is continuous because the self is never cut off. The self remains the same no matter what you are, where you are, what experience you are having. Never changes. Everything else changes except the self. When you go to sleep and have a dream, who is dreaming? You walk in the dream, who is walking? You wake up, you know you are walking. You took that body, nobody else. You didn't see somebody walking, you were walking. You can change the self in thousands of forms. It will still be the same self. You can make yourself totally formless. It will still be the same self. The self never changes. And that sound, that shabd, called naam sometimes, called by different words, emanates come from that self. And that's why, if you follow that, you go to your true self. Shortest way. That is why in my young ages, I experimented for so many kinds of yogas. I went to yogis, swamis, all kinds of. Anybody would say, here's the truth I can tell you, I would follow him. Tried everything. I got converted to Islam, baptized, had a dip, got all those experiences just to see where is the truth lying. It's ultimately that I came to this path taught by this man, which he called the Surt Shabd Yoga. Compared to other yogas, there were so many kinds of yogas, Hatha Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, Raj Yoga, I tried all those. But this Surt Shabd Yoga, what does it mean? Surt means attention. Shabd means the sound. Yoga means union with your highest self. If you can put your attention on what is coming from your soul, this, which appears to be like a sound in the physical plane, attach it. It will change its form, but it will always come from the self. The sound will keep on changing. Ultimately, it will be no sound. It will be yourself and the creative power itself. You will also find a very strange experience, deeper meditation. If you go deep into meditation, you will find that who you called a master, who you thought was a human being was a master, who had all the knowledge, who was giving you all the guidance. He was no more than a physical expression of your own shabd inside. It's a shabd that pulls you inside, and the expression of it is outside. Why outside? Because we don't listen inside. Even when we are seekers, we seek outside. We are seekers of the truth. We are seekers of ourselves, and we seek outside. Somebody says, it's not outside, everything is inside. We close our eyes. It's dark, let me open. At least I can see outside. How can anything be inside? It's so dark. So, we have to go beyond the darkness. Why is it dark when you close your eyes? Because you're not looking inside, you're looking outside. If you are looking outside and you put a block on your eyes, you can't see. It has to be dark. But when you look inside, it's not dark. You can sit in the darkest room with no lights at all. Bandage your eyes and think of this room, and you're sitting in the center and you'll see everything there. It's as simple as that. Check it out. The light is inside. If you can hold your attention, even for a short while, at the third eye center behind your eyes, you will see a light that you have never seen before. The Bible, it is said, if thine eye be single, The whole body shall be filled with light. It's not said allegorically, it's true. You can see there's so much light inside. Unbelievable light that these eyes cannot even see, cannot stand. We can't stand the light of one solar sun outside. And there's light of several suns put together, which you can see and not have to blink. So the inner eyes are very different. The eyes of the mind are bigger. The eyes of the soul are unlimited. And these can be experienced inside. So that is why I now bring you to this area where I will tell you, tomorrow I'll continue with a meditational technique so that you can catch yourself by the sound. Catch yourself by something that is held by the self at every level of consciousness. That's the fastest way to self-discovery and very practical. So that's the system which I have successfully followed and I recommend it. You can try all other forms of yoga. I have tried. I don't stop anybody from trying anything. The reason why I don't do so is because our mind accepts only certain things, certain time. We have to satisfy the mind. Especially when we have identified with it and we think that is the self, then we have to satisfy the mind. Otherwise it keeps on asking questions. In religion we have a problem. They don't allow you to ask questions. They say believe it. But the mind wants to ask questions. We all have questions. In spirituality, we encourage. Satisfy your mind with all the questions. Tire it out. When it has no questions, then it look beyond it. So that is why you should not try to run away from questions. If the mind is questioning, find the answer. Otherwise, when you meditate, that question will haunt you. The mind will drag you again and again with the same question. And that's why the great master said that you must ask all the questions and satisfy so that you can keep the mind out of the way. It comes in our way. So